All right, so today I wanted to make a video talking a little bit more about these leftists and specifically how they hide their views, or at the very least they downplay and basically lie and mislead people. But and I'm going to get into the reasons, but just the whole, the lying and the misleading and why it's so problematic and why people should be incredibly worried and concerned about these kind of people getting elected. So, getting right into it here, I have two kind of examples here of James O'Keefe pointing out the first one. Senate candidate Ossoff, I don't know who that is exactly. John Ossoff, he's from Georgia. Anyway, keeps progressive values low key to sway Georgia rednecks. On the surface, he portrays himself as left slash moderate. Deep down, he's a progressive, genuine to a certain point, but can't show true self 100% of the time. And the other example here is finance assistant reveals Reverend Warnock hides progressive platform. He avoids using defund the police. In reality, his whole platform with police reform is along the lines the same people are saying defund the police. So, again, these are two examples. I mean, I could probably come up with hundreds of examples, honestly, but the first one, like, again, the main thing I want to talk about here is that why do these people do it? Why do they hide their views? And it's very obvious. I mean, there's obviously more than one reason. There's tons of reasons, but I think the main one is that they know that the majority of people do not agree with them, and not only that, they know that their views are very fringe and crazy, for lack of a better word, and that's why they do it. And here's the thing: like, if you have to do that, then you should not be elected. If you have to hide your views, you should not be elected, right? It's very simple. It's very simple. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, on the reverse, on the reverse, um, us talk about the opposite side of the spectrum. And this is one of the reasons why I'm tacitly supportive of Trump, in that if someone or a group of people thinks that someone or a group of individuals are so bad, then you shouldn't have to lie and make stuff up about them. And again, this is what you always hear with Trump, is that people think he's the worst person in the world, right? Or at the very least, the people who disagree with him. But the examples they give you are always, they're almost always, out of context, or at the very, or even flat out not true, right? It's the he refused to condemn white supremacists, the whole very fine people on both sides. Again, that quote was taken grossly out of context, in that right before he said very fine people on both sides, he said he condemned the neo national socialists. Right before that, if you look up the whole quote, he said he condemned them. Right, so it's people taking them way out of context to try and prove their point. And again, if you hate this some individual and you think they're the worst person in the world, or some group of people, and you need to lie, manipulate, take out of context, then they're probably not a bad person. Because if they were, you would have legitimate examples of that, right? If they did, they would have legitimate examples of that. So again, that's something I also wanted to point out too. But when it comes to the whole progressive thing, is that it's very funny in that they'll always maintain that they're center left, right? They'll always maintain their center left, but yet they hold views that would have been considered far too fringe for even the average liberal or the average Democrat to support them as recently as like 10 years ago, right? Like, if you told the average Democrats or liberal in the 2000s, or even especially the 90s, about the kind of stuff that they want to teach people about, like transgenders and whatnot. Again, I don't have a problem with it, but the over the top stuff that they want to support when it comes to that, if you would have told someone that 10, 20 years ago, they would have laughed in your face and called you a crazy person. But nowadays, that's considered normal, at least for them. So again, they're not center left. They're out there. And again, if they actually were center left, then they wouldn't have to lie about their values. Like, they wouldn't have to lie about their values. So again, it's just this glaring contradiction that I can't stand, but still a lot of people believe it. Like, a lot of people still believe this stuff, in that they say, "Oh yeah, yeah, we're center left," but yet on the flip side, they have all these crazy views. So again, it's just a massive contradiction that I don't know how they play that out in their head, like the mental gymnastics they have to do to get away with it is pretty crazy if you ask me. It's pretty crazy if you ask me. So that is what I wanted to bring up today. But again, it's very important too because I talked to a lot of people about this, and the vast majority of them, even the majority of conservatives, but especially the left, they don't understand this kind of stuff. They're completely clueless. They think that the political spectrum is exactly what it always is. It doesn't change any of that kind of stuff. Well, the one thing that they do think has changed is that the conservatives and the Republicans have gone to the right, which isn't true objectively, right? Like, you know, Republicans have, and conservatives have given in on gay marriage, marijuana legalization. They're more anti-war than the left is nowadays. So again, the big issues that the left had with the right, 10, 20 years ago, they've given in on all of them, or pretty much all of them, right? So again, but it's the left that's moved way to the left, and it's the right that's actually moved slightly to the left, right? So this idea that it is the left or the right that has moved far over is not true. It's not true. It's objectively not true. And again, I've made many videos of like Gallup studies showing this. So again, there's no real debate on the issue. But anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about today. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Um, check out those links in the description. Follow me on those other platforms. If you'd like to donate, I'd really appreciate that as well. But at the very least, just follow me on those other links and hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already.